Hello guys, welcome back to our Python for Beginners tutorial. My name is Michal Hucko and in this video we're gonna talk about standard input. Now, what is a standard input? Now, standard input is one of the way how can Python interact with the user behind the computer. So through the standard input, you can put input from the keyboard up into the computer, into the running Python script. Okay, so let's dive into the Visual Studio Code to some examples. So for the purpose of this video, I created the file called standard input, which you can find in the GitHub in the link in the description below. So feel free to open it, but I highly recommend again not to copy paste it, but just rewrite it by your own. The file should be just for your worst case scenario when you don't know how to follow up. So in this video I'm gonna show you how to use standard input with two different libraries. So in the previous video I talked about the libraries, and these libraries are the Python built-in libraries. So you don't need to, install these modules or libraries outside of your computer using the pip installer tool. You just need to import it from your file system running these commands. Now, whenever you want to import a library, you should, or all the best practice is to put it in the beginning of the file, with some exceptions of course, but the best approach to it is, if you don't know where to put it in the beginning of the file. The other thing is, like, when you have multiple imports like this, order them in the alphabetical order. So it's easy for somebody else to read the code if they are looking for the import at the top, yes, so they know that they are in the alphabetical order. So let's jump right into the example back again, and I'm using a module or library called file input, and then I'm using the built-in module sys. Well, let's start with the file input. So if you look in the file, I have here command like this. So we are running a for loop, and for line in file input input, we are printing the line. And what does it do? What this part of the code does? So let's just put here the sys. So if you run the code, please run it as whole and run the Python interpreter running the command Python 3 in your terminal in the Visual Studio Code, and then you can highlight the code which you want to run and press the shift plus enter. So in this case, again, you have to press the enter because three dots are still there. And as you can see, nothing is outputted. Not even the three greater signs as it is common for the Python interpreter. And what is this? Now the Python is in the mode expecting the input from the keyboard in this case, right? So the thing which I'm doing, I can put here my name, for example, Michal Hucko. And when I press enter, my name was printed out. Now what happened behind the scenes? So the file input, that input opens the input stream from your computer whenever the for cycle is run, right? So and because this for cycle is open for the file input, it's open endlessly. It will continue in the infinite loop and it will always read your line. And whenever you press the enter, the value of the line will be transmitted into the line variable, right? So I put the Michal Hucko, and the Michal Hucko was put inside this line. And then I'm printing it here. Now, as you can see, I'm overriding the default ending of the line, which is the new line, to the empty string. Why am I doing that? Because the whole line is transmitted into the line variable, and as I press the enter, also the enter is added to the variable, right? So let me show you. If you want well, because now it's in the fourth cycle, it's still expecting some input and it will always output the same thing you put there. And if you want to terminate this, press on the Mac or even on the Windows Control C, not the Command C on the back, but the Control C, okay? CTRL, fine. So now let's adjust the code a little bit. So we can add here input your input is, and the name of the input, and we can delete this end so you can see there will be two line endings. So if I run it right now like this and press enter, input already activated. Yes, you need to quit and then you need to open it up again to be able to run this. And as you can see now, when I put Michal Hucko, yes, your input is Michal Hucko and two new lines are presented. Okay, so beware the fact that this input is taking your a new line with it into the variable. Now, so please terminate the input, run the quit, and open the Python interpreter again with Python 3. And now let's go to a sys package. Now, for example, in your assignment, you will need to read from the input some numbers. So how do we create a function to read a number from the input? Yes. So we can create a function called def input number, right? And we gonna just look here, and as you can see, when you want to input the number with the sys, you need to go like sys, get the object of the sys standard input, and then upon this you can call the read line. Now this syntax is a little bit strange. We were always used to just call a direct function upon a module, but this module returns an object. Yeah, you still don't know what's object, but you can think of an object as something which is encapsulating more functions in the same time. Yes, so the sys, which is a library which we are importing, has object inside there, and we are accessing the object called standard input and accessing the read line of it. Okay, and then we are converting it into integers. So everything what we read from the input will be converted into the integer, right? So we can copy this code, put it into here like, okay, so input number equals sys standard in and read line. Okay, now I have the in my input, in my variable input number, I have the number which I put from the console, and I can return it. Return input number. Yeah, you can put the reading of the number outside of the function. It doesn't have to be in this function if you want. And now when you run the input number, you can put it into X variable and print like the number is and the number, sorry, the X in this case, and it's a formatted string, so put the F there please. Okay, so now if we run this code, you can see that the number yeah, we have to convert it int. So if I run it like this, we need to run this code as a file. So please click right and run Python in the file. And now, as you can see, it is expecting us to put a number. Because it's frozen, we don't see any signs, so we put the 4. We press enter and the number is 4. We can adjust this function, so have some descriptive like introduction. Please specify a number. Like this, and we can run it again. Please specify a number, let's go with 4, and the number is 4. Okay, so this way you can implement your own number input reader. Now the problem with this is that you cannot put there anything beside integers. So if you put here 4, it will have a problem, right? So because invalid literal for int base /n. So the problem is that there is a new line ending and it cannot be converted to integer. Okay, so you could fix this problem by specifying the try except statement from the last video, and in the except statement put some nice descriptive error message like please specify numbers only. So in your project you can this way code your way how to read the numbers. Yes, in the function you can have multiple numbers. For example, you don't need to, you can have multiple number 1. You can have number 1 and you can then copy paste the same line on the same string, number 2, and then return 2 numbers. I'm just telling you how you can adjust your project to make it work, right? So feel free to experiment with this input, and I hope this helped you to with your project to specify the input numbers for your 2D array. Okay guys, this is where this was the input stream in the Python. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope I see you guys in the next video.